Have you ever felt like your mind simply refuses to let certain things go? A small problem turns into dozens of possible outcomes. A simple conversation stays in your head long after it has ended. And sometimes, the more you understand something, the harder it becomes to feel completely certain about it. None of these things, by themselves, prove that you're highly intelligent. But research has found some interesting patterns that may help explain why certain problems can appear more often in people with higher cognitive abilities. The first problem is having a mind that can turn possibilities into worry. You don't just think about what happened. You imagine what might happen next, and then what could happen after that. An ambiguous message can turn into an entire chain of possible futures in your mind. A 2015 study found that verbal intelligence was positively associated with worry and rumination in the sample they studied. Of course, this doesn't mean that intelligent people are necessarily anxious. It points to something more interesting. The same verbal and analytical abilities that help you build complex ideas can also give your mind more material to analyze. Your brain isn't necessarily malfunctioning. Sometimes, it's simply very good at generating possibilities. The second problem is that understanding something can actually make it harder to explain. You understand how something works so well that you forget what it felt like not to know it. You explain an idea and accidentally skip several steps because, to you, those steps seem obvious. The other person looks confused, and you think, but this is so simple. This is related to something known as the curse of knowledge, a well-established cognitive bias. In Elizabeth Newton's famous 1990 experiment, people who tapped out the rhythms of familiar songs greatly overestimated how easily listeners would recognize them. The reason was simple. Once you know something, it's harder to imagine what it feels like not to know it. And sometimes, the knowledge you have is exactly what makes explaining it more difficult. But the third problem may be the strangest one. The more you learn, the less certain you may become. As your knowledge grows, you can also see the limits of what you know more clearly. Psychologists use the concept of intellectual humility to describe the ability to recognize that our knowledge and beliefs may be incomplete. So you might know more about a subject than most people around you and still think, maybe there are things I'm not seeing. That isn't necessarily weakness or a lack of confidence. Sometimes, it's the result of understanding something more deeply. Confidence can come from having an answer, but deeper understanding allows you to be comfortable saying, I might be wrong. And perhaps that's one of the uncomfortable parts of having a powerful mind. It's not that your mind knows everything. It's that your mind is powerful enough to recognize how much it still doesn't know.